You are a U.S. company, 4,000 locations, give or take. You are pretty much the standard bearer when a lot of people here in the U.S. think about Mexican or Tex-Mex food. Now you're entering into Mexico, your first store there, a big one out there in the Monterrey region. Why do you think you can make that work?
We believe Mexico is a really important milestone for our great brand as we continue to lean into our global strategy. It's an important country for us. We recognize and admire the culinary heritage that is a part of the Mexican culture, and we respect what we believe to be some of the best food in the world. What we're working to do is really tackle this emerging trend that we see around the globe. We also see it down in Mexico, this idea around fresh ingredients being prepared same day, freshly in restaurants. And we believe what we do and what we offer will really resonate with the Mexican community.
I know you've had to have done a lot of market research, and there's been a lot of talk about this idea of just how prolific not just Mexican taquerias are, but obviously all of the sort of unauthorized stands. Anyone who's walked around Mexico City, Monterrey, these big cities, they are everywhere. And I saw one stat that said that basically if you live in an urban area in Mexico, you don't have to go more than 200 or 300 feet before you find a taco cart of some kind or another. Have you factored that into your equation, that you're not just competing against established chains, but basically that ma or pa, so to speak, on the street, selling food from their carts?
Yeah, it's a great question, and we have. And so we have partnered with what we believe to be a world-class partner in Alsea in Mexico, who has brought other U.S. brands into the country at a very successful pace of growth with brands like Starbucks and Cheesecake Factory. And they've done an incredible job. So we believe the right partnership, strength of the partnership, and the opportunity to go into Monterrey first and showcase the brand in a really unique way down in San Pedro is really step one. As we continue to move through Monterrey and open up and expand, we'll have our sights set on Mexico City next. But we believe what we offer, the idea of the best ingredients in the world, prepared fresh in restaurant daily at an abundance and variety and speed, really which is unmatched, at a really competitive price point, will resonate well with the consumers in the market.
Well, Scott, as you mentioned, you're starting in Monterrey. You have plans to expand into Mexico City a little bit later in terms of timeline here. Talk to us about that cadence, why you chose to start in Monterrey, what sort of boxes that region checked for you.
Yeah, if you haven't been to Monterrey, it's a really beautiful city, really progressive city in Mexico. We love the trade area. We love the consumer profile in that market specifically. We plan to expand at a very measured pace to show that the brand can work in really any geography around the world. We think Monterrey is a great starting point for us. We'll launch the brand there, move to a number of restaurants, and then move to Mexico City, where we think we can be hyper successful in a really large metro city that is probably one of the largest cities in the world.
Well, as Romain sort of hinted at, there's a little bit of irony when it comes to the fact that Chipotle Mexican Grill is opening up, expanding into Mexico. And with that in mind, what changes do you have planned for Mexico when you think about pricing, your menus, potentially your ingredients? What are you adapting to Mexico? What are you keeping the same?
Yeah, so we plan to use the same menu we have here in the United States in Mexico. We'll locally source as much of the product we bring over the border today as it relates to avocados and tomatoes and peppers. We'll locally source those, but it'll be the same menu we've launched in Western Europe, the same menu we launched in the Middle East with our partner Alshaya. We have 15 restaurants open in that region today, and the brand really resonates well when we deliver on standard the same execution and same menu that we have in the United States.
With regard to your partnership with Alsea, I mean, this is a license model. And I am curious that given that you pretty much own your stores here in the United States, how do you sort of ensure that, quality control, both on the ingredient side, but also in terms of service, is going to be up to the same standard that anyone would expect in any other location?
Yeah, I think it's really about when you go into a new market is really assessing the partner quality. We believe in this idea of a slow, measured approach to global expansion. We're not opening restaurants at a fast pace just for the sake of opening restaurants. We're going to protect the quality of our great brand through the strength of the partnership management of the supply chain, and then oversight on how we deliver the experience each day to each community in which we serve, whether that's in the Middle East, Latin America, and or Southeast Asia, which will open up later this year.
Well, I'm curious, how far do you want to take this international expansion? Obviously, you're a relatively mature company, 30 plus years old, primarily here in the U.S. You have the partnership in the Middle East. You referenced the partnership in, I believe, in South Korea, and now in Mexico, Latin America. Is this the longer term growth story for Chipotle under Scott Boatwright?
It is. As we continue to expand in North America, we have a really strong business model here. We have an incredible team that is opening up restaurants at a record pace. We'll open up in North America alone this year north of 350 restaurants. So we feel like we have a really good foothold here, and we understand how we deliver the model and how we deliver on consumer expectations and preferences in a really meaningful and unique way. What we endeavor to do now is, as we build Chipotle to a global iconic brand, is really showcase that the brand works in every region of the world. At the heart of the menu, it's really rice, beans, heavy protein, and heavy veg, prepared fresh, which we know is not unique around the globe. And we're going to showcase in a very slow and measured way that we can be successful in every region of the world.
Well, Scott, you mentioned heavy veg, and I want to apologize for this next question since we are talking about food, but we have to talk a little bit about cyclosporiasis. I hope I'm saying that right. It's that parasite that's been linked to severe diarrhea. We've seen outbreaks in more than 30 U.S. states, and they're usually linked to basil, cilantro, lettuce, things that I'm sure you use a lot at Chipotle. So what have you seen? What do you know about this? Have you seen any notices from your suppliers or anything along those lines?
Well, first and foremost, the care and safety of our team members and our guests is always our highest priority. We have gone through our supply chain ingredients with our partners to understand if any of our ingredients have been indicated in the Cyclospora outbreak, and they haven't to date. We don't expect that they will, but we'll continue to monitor our supply chain and be hyper vigilant to ensure we are protecting both our team members and our guests in our fullest way.
Yeah, I have to imagine that's top of mind, and we'll see how this develops. But on the topic of ingredients more broadly and sourcing them, what have you seen as it relates to the war of Iran when it comes to, where you're sourcing products from, and what are you doing to offset that, any changes that you have seen?
We really haven't, outside of transportation costs, Katie, we really haven't seen inflation in our supply chain. It's actually been a really modest year for us as it relates to cost of goods, which we feel very fortunate for. I think our supplier diversification efforts over the past few years, along with diversifying countries of origin, have really helped us create a stable supply chain that is predictable and manageable from a cost perspective, which really ladders well to our economic model.
In terms of the demand perspective, Scott, I am curious, and this is more specific to your expansion into Mexico. Are you dealing with kind of the same income level of customer for this new store and whatever new stores may come down the road? Is that relatively the same type of customer that you would have here in the United States?
I think it is, Romaine, and the reason I say that is because we serve customers across all income cohorts today here in the U.S. We feel like we have that same opportunity in every country we go into. We will price the model just below the U.S. Number. I think it's 15 to 20% discount to what we charge here in the U.S. But I'll remind you that the average chicken burrito bowl in America today is still under $10. And so we feel that we provide an extraordinary value when you think about the quality of the ingredients, the way we prepare those ingredients in restaurant fresh every single day, and at the abundance and variety and speed which we provide. So we think it's an extraordinary value in every market we enter, and we think that the consumers will respond, again, at all income levels in those markets.
But on the pricing in Mexico, and I understand that, Monterrey is a relatively wealthy area, so there's plenty of people of means there, but there's also this idea of tradition, and I hearken back to some of the missteps that other brands have made going into other countries. Starbucks was a good example of that, going into Italy, where you can get a shot of espresso for $1. Starbucks came in, charged about twice that. And it wasn't that people couldn't afford it. It was just, it was the tradition. And so I do wonder how you sort of adjust your pricing, your own input costs, to make sure that those people that maybe are used to getting a street taco for next to nothing are willing to come into a Chipotle store and try what you have for maybe a little bit more money.
Yeah, so think about it this way. If you think about our menu architecture today, we provide value across all those income cohorts by having a pricing strategy that is smart and sound. I'll give you an example. A taco here in the US today at Chipotle is about $2.50. A high protein cup you can get for around $3.80, I think, on average here in the US. So you think about the menu and pricing architecture really bodes well and caters to all income cohorts, and we can provide that value and showcase that value in restaurant.
And Scott, before we let you go, I do want to talk a little bit about the U.S. consumer. You think about the average Chipotle customer, they've typically been able to absorb price increases better than most chains. But, we heard from Pepsi, for example, last week saying that high gas prices have their shoppers buying fewer items overall. And I wonder if you've seen any change in behavior when it comes to the Chipotle customer, whether, folks are trading down or adding fewer add-ons, for example.
We really haven't. I think we stated on our last earnings call, we saw an inflection for the Chipotle brand in Q1, returning to positive transactions. And I talked about on that earnings call an acceleration into Q2. We feel really good that we are really working well across all income cohorts and age cohorts and really creating value for those individuals and a broad base of consumers. So we feel like we're rightly priced. We are now targeting consumers with better menu innovation, new brand messaging, a new rewards relaunch, which is we are calling rewards on repeat, which increase the flexibility and ability to earn points and flexibility to use those points, as well as the opportunity to earn milestones within our loyalty platform, which is paying huge dividends as well.
Ding dong.